Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. Loneliness does not come from having no people about one, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. Your perception will become clear only when you can look into your soul. In all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. Show me a sane man, and I will cure him for you. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. The pendulum of the mind alternates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. It all depends on how we look at things, and not on how they are in themselves. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. The greater the tension, the greater is the potential. Great energy springs from a correspondingly great tension of opposites. The dream is the small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. I am not what happened to me, but what I choose to become. The word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol, morphine, or idealism. As a child, I felt myself to be alone, and I am still, because I know things and must hint at things which others apparently know nothing of, and for the most part do not want to know. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. The best political, social, and spiritual work we can do is to withdraw the projection of our shadow onto others. The first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. The second half is going inward and letting go of it. The reason for evil in the world is that people are not able to tell their stories. Every human life contains a potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, then that life was wasted. If there is anything that we wish to change in the child, we should first examine it and see whether it is not something that could better be changed in ourselves. Whatever is rejected from the self appears in the world as an event. How can I be substantial if I do not cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. Nights through dreams tell the myths forgotten by the day. We meet ourselves as time, and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. Anyone who attempts to do both, to adjust to his group and at the same time pursue his individual goal, becomes neurotic. There can be no transforming of darkness into light and of apathy into movement without emotion. I shall not commit the fashionable stupidity of regarding everything I cannot explain as a fraud. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. If the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's. Find out what a person fears most, and that is where he will develop next. Words are animals, alive with a will of their own. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate. The bigger the crowd, the more negligible the individual becomes. Sometimes you have to do something unforgivable just to be able to go on living. In each of us there is another whom we do not know. The true leader is always led. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. Life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. The fool is the precursor to the savior. The majority of my patients consisted not of believers, but of those who had lost their faith. I don't aspire to be a good man. I aspire to be a whole man. Faith, hope, love, and insight are the highest achievements of human effort. They are found, given by experience. Whenever we give up, leave behind, and forget too much, there is always the danger that the things we have neglected will return with added force. Where your fear is, there is your task. Life is a battleground. It always has been, and always will be. And if it were not so, existence would come to an end. A creative person has little power over his own life. He is not free. He is captive and driven by his daemon. When you are up against a wall, put down roots like a tree until clarity comes from deeper sources to see over that wall and grow. The wrong we have done, thought or intended, will wreak its vengeance on. For better to come, good must stand aside. Creative power is mightier than its possessor. Man cannot stand a meaningless life. Sentimentality is a superstructure covering brutality. Psychological or spiritual development always requires a greater capacity for anxiety and ambiguity. The secret is that only that which can destroy itself is truly alive. Explore daily the will of God.